a video on a dish I've made before, pasta alla Gricia. That's wrong, but because I'm rubbish at that, at pronouncing other people's languages, I'm not particularly good with English either at the best of times. So, essentially, we'll talk about what it is and what we're going to do, and then we'll get on with cooking it, because I think I can cook better if I understand why I'm doing things. Oh, that just needs to come off. So, I've made guanciale, which is cured pig's cheek made into a bacon, all intents and purposes. There is video. It's quite an interesting thing to make, expensive to buy, but I thought I'll just make my own. So I've made my own. So this is it. It's fatty. It's a cheap peasant thing. Like it normally would be a waste product, and poor Italian people took the pig's head and turned it into something beautiful. It's got lots of fat and a little bit of meat, so therefore would be considered a waste product. Or for the poor, but loads of flavour. And so let's have a think about this. So I have sliced the bacon, I've cut the rind off, and I've cooked it. As you can see, it's very, very, very fatty. So I don't think we'll need all that fat. So in essence, what this dish is, it is a pasta with a cheese and bacon sauce. So if you were to make like a cheese sauce, if you were to make a cheese sauce, you would make a cheese sauce with fat, flour, and milk. That's how you make a white sauce. We're not going to do it that way. In essence, what we're going to do is we are not going to put any milk in. We're going to use the fat from the bacon as the fat, and we're going to use the flour from the pasta. As we cook the pasta, it will release some of the flour, and those are the two things that are going to form the sauce. And then we're going to use water from the cooking pasta, which is another thing which is going to form the sauce. So instead of making a white sauce with flour, fat and milk, we're going to make it with water, the fat from the bacon, and the flour from the pasta. And we're going to emulsify it. So we're going to half cook the pasta in the boiling water, and then we're going to finish off the cooking of the pasta in the pan. This will release some of the starch into the pan with the fat in, and that will start forming the sauce. And then we're going to finish it off with cheese at the very end. So that's kind of what we're going to do and what we're kind of aiming at. I've cooked the bacon, so lots of the fat's come out of it. We can't cook the bacon in with the pasta, because what happens is all the cheese wants to stick to the bacon, which is not particularly very good. And I don't think we'll need all that fat. So we're going to drain out quite a lot. We're going to drain out half that fat. So hopefully I'm making sense. So need to get rid of those bits as well. We can always add a little bit more of the fat back to the pan, but very difficult. I think that much fat, it's just going to be greasy. But we'll leave those with some little bits of sediment in the bottom, which is crispy, lovely flavour. We'll certainly need those in the sauce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook the pasta for, it says, between 9 and 12 minutes to cook the pasta. I'm going to cook it for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to finish it off cooking in the pan. So we'll come back when the pasta's ready, and we're going to take the pasta from the pan into the pan here with the bacon fat in, and then we're going to emulsify the sauce, which basically, when you emulsify something, it means that you're going to combine, like a salad dressing, right, is a mixture of oil and vinegar, and you emulsify those together, you mix them up. So we're going to make emulsification of the water from the pasta and the fat, and they're going to emulsify together so they form a sauce, in essence. So that's kind of the simplest way I can kind of describe that. So that's what I mean by we're going to emulsify the fat and the water from the pasta together to form a sauce, and then we're going to add the cheese afterwards when everything's cooked. We're going to add the cheese, we're going to melt the cheese in, take it off the heat by that time, otherwise we'll curdle the cheese and it'll go stringy. We don't want that, and we'll have a nice silky smooth sauce. If we heat the cheese, it won't be a nice silky smooth sauce, and then we'll add back in the bacon and toss it all together. So I'll cook the pasta, and then we'll come back when we're ready at that stage. From what I remember, the recipe is 250 grams of pasta, 75 grams of pecorino cheese that I'm using, and then we've got a 125 grams worth of guanciale, but fatty bacon would do the job. So there, so that's it. We'll pause for a second, we'll cook the pasta, and then we'll be back. Right, so the pasta is as cooked as it wants, as much as it wants to be. So it's still tough to eat. It's still really hard, is pasta. There's no way you're going to want to eat it, but we're going to finish off cooking it off in this pan with a little bit of water. Is what's going to be cooking it. So roll the pasta out that we can. This pasta thing is not as good as I thought it would be. Tongs are better. So what we're looking to do is the fat from the bacon and the water from the pork and the water from the pasta are going to form the basis of the sauce. So it's half cooked, so we need to add quite a bit. So as you can see, it starts to bubble there, and you will notice, I don't know if you can really see, but and when you cook it at home, what happens is that the water and the fat boil together and they emulsify together, so they don't actually, like most of the time, water and fat are separate. But this, because of the rapid boiling, it's going to cook together. So there's quite a lot of water in there at the moment, but that's going to evaporate off, and the pasta's also going to soak some up as well. So they're all ready. There, you can see at the bottom of the pan, you can see already that the water it's not clear water, and it's taken on, the fat's boiled into it, and it starts to take on some of the starch from the sauce, from the pasta water. So it's just a case of getting it to a stage where the pasta is almost cooked. So it's still going to be tough. I'm going to taste it anyway. Way too al dente. So the water's evaporating off, so we need to add a little bit more water. Leave that in there. You can season now with a bit of pepper. Before we forget, more than anything. So, starch is coming out of the pasta and mixing with the water and the fat and making a thin sauce. The cheese that we're going to add will thicken that sauce up slightly. Keep moving around, getting some of the starch to come out of the pasta, and also cooking the pasta further. A little bit more on the pasta. As you can see, we've added quite a lot of water, but it keeps evaporating off. Turn it down. You need to be careful with the seasoning, because the bacon's salty and so is the pecorino. So you just need to be a little bit aware of that. So the pasta feels like it's getting softer. Still quite a lot of water in the bottom, you can see. Okay, don't be afraid of that water. The pasta's going to soak it up, and the cheese, that's what's going to form the sauce. And we certainly want enough water in there that's going to mix with the cheese and form the sauce. So, one more taste of the pasta. It feels about right. Right, that's right. So, turn the heat off, because now we're going to add the cheese. That's probably too much cheese, but we'll see. We can always add a little bit more. We'll just see how we go. So last time I did this, I made a mess of the tongs, and lots of the cheese stuck to the tongs, so I'm just a little bit concerned about that. We can always add a little bit more water as well, so we don't need to worry about that. just going to take a little bit of time for the cheese to melt into the pasta. And as you can see, at the bottom of the pan, it's starting to form a sauce, but it just needs a little bit more water. And the pasta's starting to look shiny as well, because it's starting to coat in the sauce. So it will come together. I think it'll take all that cheese. Yeah, so that was 125 grams worth of cheese. The pasta's not going to go cold at this stage. You don't need to worry that you're going to get cold pasta. You're not going to eat it when it's piping hot anyway. You're going to have it slightly cool. And it's going to carry on cooking. As long as there's liquid there, it's going to carry on cooking as the pasta. So, you can see down there, that's where the sauce is forming. Cheese just isn't particularly melting particularly well, which is probably something I've done wrong. But it'll come together. We've just got to be a little bit patient with it. Maybe I should have had the cheese in a bit at a time. Probably need to do this video again. Yes, this video is right off.